All right, welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive? Today, we're looking at AI projects that are actually making a real difference in the world.
Yeah, moving past all the hype and seeing how it can actually benefit people.
Exactly. And we've got a really interesting mix of stuff to look at today.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Well, there's some great discussions from AI Discord communities, some pretty intense debates on Reddit, and even a peek into what the future of GPU benchmarking might look like.
Sounds like a lot to cover.
It is. But, we wanted to see how all this stuff could actually, change people's lives. So that's our mission today.
I like it. Let's dive in.
Okay, so, you flag this one in your notes, and I think it's a great place to start. Meta's Llama 3.3.
Ah, yes. This one's a 70B parameter model,
Right, 70B.
but it performs like a 405B one.
Seriously.
Yeah, which is really interesting from an accessibility standpoint.
What do you mean?
Well, if a smaller model can get the same results as a bigger one, it means researchers and developers with, limited resources, they can still work on these cutting-edge AI projects.
So it's not just about speed, then. It's about making AI more accessible.
Exactly, leveling the playing field.
I like that.
And the improvements they've made are pretty impressive.
Oh, yeah?
Llama 3.3 is doing better with code generation. It's got like a 7.9% increase on the human evil benchmark.
Interesting.
And it's gotten a lot better at math, too.
No kidding.
Yeah, like a 9% jump on the math benchmark. Plus, it's multilingual.
Oh, wow. How many languages?
Supports 8 in total.
Okay, so it's more efficient, more accessible. Are we maybe looking at a revolution here in AI development?
Potentially, yeah. And it gets even more interesting. Unsloth AI, they're offering 4-bit quantized versions of Llama 3.3.
Okay, hold on. What does 4-bit quantized even mean?
Basically, think of it like compressing the model.
Okay.
It gets even smaller and more efficient, but without, sacrificing performance.
So you could run these models on even less powerful hardware.
Yeah, maybe even your phone.
Wow, that's a game changer for sure. Speaking of changing things, let's talk about Open Interpreter.
Okay, yeah.
It's basically like an AI assistant, right? But it can run code.
That's right, even for people who aren't programmers.
Exactly. And the reviews for the 1.0 preview are really good.
Yeah, people are calling it streamlined and fast.
I saw that, with a clean interface. It sounds pretty impressive.
It is.
So what kind of impact could this have? I mean, if anyone can use AI, what changes?
Well, imagine being able to analyze data without knowing how to code, or automating boring tasks, or even controlling your computer with just your voice.
That'd be incredible. What about downsides? Are there any?
Well, right now it's only for macOS.
Okay.
And the API cost is pretty high, like $200 a month.
Oof, yeah, that is pretty steep.
Ugh.
So maybe some roadblocks, but huge potential. Okay, let's switch gears a bit. You marked this one DynaSaur, and I gotta say, it kind of makes me nervous.
Oh,
Well, it's an AI that writes its own code to solve problems.
it's definitely pushing the boundaries.
Right. Like, what happens when AI is creating solutions we haven't even thought of yet? Could it get out of control?
It's a valid concern, especially as AI gets more, autonomous. We need to think about safety and control.
I mean, one of our sources even said to run DynaSaur in a virtual machine, just to be safe.
Yeah, that's probably not a bad idea.
All right, let's move on to something a bit more fun. What about Notebook LM?
Oh, yeah, the tool from Google that can make podcasts from documents.
That's the one. I mean, imagine that.
One user even made a 64-minute podcast.
Wow, really?
And it was from a multilingual document.
That's pretty impressive.
It is.
So what kind of impact could this have on how we, learn and consume information?
Think about it. AI audiobooks for people who have trouble reading. Summaries of those long, complicated research papers for busy people. Even personalized education that adapts to different learning styles.
Yeah, there are a lot of possibilities there.
Yeah.
But are there any limitations? I saw some people talking about issues with how coherent the generated audio is and about some weird tangents it goes off on.
True. It's still pretty early for this tech, but it's improving fast. I'm curious to see where it goes.
Okay, last one for this part of our deep dive. It's called ShellSage, and it's aimed at helping programmers.
ShellSage. Oh, yeah, it's like an AI assistant for your terminal. Right?
Yeah, and it learns from your commands over time.
Gets smarter the more you use it.
Exactly. So it's not about replacing programmers, it's more about making them more efficient.
I like that.
Yeah, me too. Makes me wonder, though, could tools like ShellSage become as essential to programmers as, their favorite text editor or something?
It's possible, for sure. As AI keeps learning and adapting to how we work, I think we'll see more and more tools like this become indispensable.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We've got efficient AI, AI that writes code, AI that makes podcasts. It's clear that AI is changing fast.
And it's having a real impact on the world around us.
Yeah, it's amazing to see how these tools are, becoming part of our everyday work. It's not just about the future anymore, it's about what's happening right now.
Absolutely. And speaking of what's happening right now, there was a lot of buzz in our sources about this AI-powered coding tool.
Oh yeah, which one?
Well, some people called it Codium, others Windsurf.
Oh, right. I think they're going with Codium now.
Yeah, seems like a bit of a branding shift.
But yeah, I've been seeing that name pop up a lot too.
For good reason, it seems. All of the chatter is about their new features and pricing, especially that Pro Ultimate thing.
Yeah, the one with unlimited prompt credits.
That's it. For a flat fee, no less.
That's a pretty smart move, I gotta say.
Why is that?
Well, predictable pricing is a big deal for developers, especially freelancers or people working in smaller teams.
Yeah, makes sense. You got to keep an eye on the budget. Well,
Exactly.
plus, they've totally changed their support system.
Oh yeah, no more forums. They're using a dedicated ticketing system now, really focusing on the user experience.
Nice. So are people happy with it?
Seems like it.
Yeah.
Lots of praise for how fast and accurate it is and how user-friendly it is to use.
That's good to hear.
But it's not all sunshine and roses, right?
Oh, of course not. There are always a few hiccups.
Yeah, I saw some complaints about like persistent bugs and some weird behavior from the Composer tool.
Ah, the composer. Yeah, that's still a bit rough around the edges.
And because of these issues, it seems like some people are looking at alternatives like Cursor IDE.
Cursor IDE. Interesting.
It came up a few times in our research, yeah.
What's the draw there?
Well, it seems Cursor has some features that Codium doesn't.
Like what?
Inline diffs, get commit message generation,
Handy?
and even some early versions of an AI agent that can help with, more complex coding tasks.
Hold on, an AI agent built into a coding environment.
Yep, things are moving fast.
Yeah.
What does that even mean for software development, in the long run?
Well, it's exciting for sure. Imagine having an AI that not only helps you write code, but actually understands what you're working on.
And it could even, anticipate problems before they happen.
Exactly. It could be a game changer.
So is Cursor IDE the next big thing then? Is this the end of traditional coding tools as we know them?
Whoa, hold on. It's way too early to say that.
Yeah, fair enough.
Cursor's still pretty new, but it's definitely shaking things up in the AI-powered coding world.
Competition is good though, right?
Absolutely. It pushes everyone to be better. More innovation, pushing the boundaries.
Totally agree. Speaking of pushing boundaries, remember Notebook LM?
Yeah, the document to podcast thing.
That's the one.
Yeah.
But it seems people are using it for a lot more than just podcasts.
Oh, really? Like what?
Creative writing, even game development.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. People are so creative.
It really blurs the line, doesn't it, between human creativity and machine creativity.
It does. It's a question a lot of people are grappling with right now. Is it a threat?
Hmm.
Or is it a new way to collaborate?
I saw some examples of people using it to make interactive stories, whole game scenarios. I mean, what does this mean for creative fields long term?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? One thing's for sure, AI is changing how we think about creativity, and we're only just getting started.
Yeah, it's something we need to keep an eye on for sure. But let's switch gears back to the more technical stuff for a bit. Remember Unsloth AI?
Yeah, the ones doing those super efficient Llama models?
Those are the ones.
Hmm.
But it seems they're not just focusing on efficiency.
What else are they up to?
Memory management, fine-tuning, that kind of thing.
Interesting.
There were a bunch of discussions about Kilorafori in the Discord channels.
Killer 4. Oh, right, the new technique for saving memory during training.
That's it.
Yeah, that's a big deal. As these AI models get bigger and more complex, memory management becomes a real bottleneck.
So Puro helps with that.
Exactly. It makes these advanced AI models more accessible to people who, might not have the most powerful hardware.
Goes back to that idea of leveling the playing field, right?
Hmm.
And it wasn't just memory management. There was a whole debate about the use cache parameter in LoRa fine-tuning.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Some people swear by it, others say it's useless.
Yeah, it just goes to show that AI development is still a work in progress.
It's a constantly evolving field, lots of experimentation, lots of debate.
And that's what makes it so exciting.
Absolutely. It's like a giant collaborative experiment.
Yeah, everyone's working together, sharing what they know, pushing the field forward.
I love that.
Me too. Speaking of collaboration, remember OpenRouter.
OpenRouter. Refresh my memory.
It's that platform that wants to be like the one-stop shop for AI models.
Oh, yeah, I remember now.
It gives you access to all these different models from different providers.
Sounds convenient.
It does, but it seems like they've been getting some mixed feedback on the Amazon Nova models.
Really? What kind of feedback?
Some users said they weren't as good as other options, like the Nova Pro 1.0,
Interesting.
but others said they were super fast and cost-effective.
Well, there you go. It just shows that there's no perfect model for every situation.
Yeah, different tools for different jobs.
Exactly. And that's what OpenRouter is all about, giving developers more choices.
Right, so they can experiment and find what works best for them.
Makes sense.
Okay, one last thing before we wrap up this part. OpenAI, the folks behind ChatGPT and GPT-4,
Yeah, what about them?
they've been pretty quiet lately. But they did announce this new feature called Reinforcement Learning Fine-Tuning.
RLFT, huh? That could be big.
Yeah, potentially. It lets developers use reinforcement learning to, make AI models more efficient and effective.
Interesting.
But the reaction to it was, well, a bit underwhelming.
Oh.
Yeah, it seems people were expecting something more groundbreaking, especially after all the hype around GPT-4.
I guess that's understandable. OpenAI has set a pretty high bar.
True. But AI development is a marathon, not a sprint, right?
Exactly. Not every announcement is going to be a revolution.
Right. It's all about the long game.
And I'm sure OpenAI is still pushing the boundaries. It's just a matter of time before they drop another bombshell.
Okay, so before we move on to the last part of our dive, there's one more group I want to talk about.
Sure? Who's that?
Llama AI. They're a nonprofit research lab that are really making waves in the world of open source AI. We'll take a closer look at their work in the last part of our deep dive. Okay, so we're back for the last part of our deep dive, and this time we're talking about Llama AI.
Ah, yeah, Llama AI. They're doing some really fascinating stuff in open source AI.
Yeah, and one thing that really stands out is their focus on making AI more understandable. They call it mechanistic interpretability.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one. It's basically about understanding how AI models actually work.
Okay, so instead of just looking at what goes in and what comes out, we're trying to figure out the thinking that happens in between.
Exactly. We want to know the why, not just the what.
And why is that so important?
Well, for a few reasons. First, it helps us make sure AI is safe and reliable.
Okay, I see.
If we understand how it works, we can spot potential problems, like biases, before they become an issue.
Makes sense.
Plus, it can actually lead to new ideas and innovations.
Whoa, how so?
By studying how AI thinks, we might find completely new ways to approach problems, kind of like learning from a new colleague.
That's a cool way to think about it. So how is Llama AI contributing to all of this?
Well, they've put together this amazing resource for anyone interested in mechanistic interpretability research.
What kind of resource?
It's a curated list of all these important papers, organized by theme, and even annotated to help you understand them.
Wow, so they're not just doing the research, they're making it easier for everyone else to understand it.
Exactly. And they're also building practical tools like Neuronpedia and Salins. These are specifically designed to help with this kind of research.
So they're really walking the walk, huh? Not just talking about it.
Absolutely. And what's even cooler is that they're actively asking for feedback from the community to make these tools even better.
That's the beauty of open source. Everyone benefits.
Totally agree.
So it's not just about interpretability, right?
Yeah.
Llama AI is also doing some work on efficiency.
Oh, yeah, definitely. They're exploring new ways to make AI models less resource intensive. For example, they're working on something called the Goldfinch architecture.
Goldfinch? What's that about?
It's a way to reduce the number of parameters needed to train a model, which makes it a lot more efficient.
We've been seeing a lot of this focus on efficiency, haven't we?
Yeah, it seems like a major theme right now.
Why do you think that is?
Well, it means that we're getting closer to a future where powerful AI isn't just for big tech companies or research labs.
Right. It could be available to anyone.
Yeah, like individuals, small businesses, nonprofits, democratizing access to AI, that's the goal.
And Llama AI is playing a big part in that.
They are, and they're showing that open source AI can be just as impactful as the stuff coming out of big companies.
For sure. Like their GPT Neo X model, that was a big deal when it came out.
One of the largest language models at the time and completely open source.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing to see a nonprofit doing this kind of work.
And they're doing it with a focus on transparency and ethical development. It really builds trust in AI.
You know, it's funny, of all the projects we talked about today, Llama AI's work really resonates with me.
Me too.
They're not just focused on what AI can do, but how it should be developed and used. really thinking about the bigger picture.
Yeah, their emphasis on transparency, accessibility, and ethics is really setting a good example for the whole field.
Well, that's about all the time we have for today. We've seen AI that can do some incredible things, from writing code to generating podcasts and even helping programmers be more efficient.
And this is really just the tip of the iceberg. It's an exciting time to be following AI, that's for sure.
It really is. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of AI. Until next time, keep exploring and stay curious.